Hey, what's up guys? So today I'm going to be going over stats I've collected for the Monsters of the Multiverse book that recently came out as of when I filmed this video. So here I have the book right here, pretty cool, right? Anyway, I know that there's a rule system in the book about how you can choose whatever racial stats to choose +1, +1, +1, or +2 and +1. And I know they're trying to kind of get the game to switch over into that rule set, but I don't like it. So I spent a good 2 hours um, going through the other books and whatnot, finding all the racial stats for each of the different races that are in the book, and yeah, I finally have them collected here, and I am going to share them with you all. Here on the... Oh, here we have the Aarakocra, and for the Aarakocra in the EEPC, it says that Aarakocras have a +2 to dexterity and a +1 to wisdom. And next to them we have ASMR, or ASMR, however you pronounce it, not the stupid acronym of sounds, whatever. These people, according to Volo's guide, they have a +2 to charisma, and they have a +1 to either wisdom, constitution, or strength. Here for the bugbear on my right, your left, in the Eberron book, it says that bugbears have +2 to strength and +1 to dexterity. Over here is Centaur. Centaur right there. It says in the Mythic Odyssey of Theros, I'm just gonna call it Theros. That book says that centaurs have +2 to strength and +1 to wisdom. Changelings over here. Yeah. Eberron says that they have a +2 to charisma and +1 to any other score of the player's choice. Over here for deep gnomes, the information is spread across the player's handbook and the Tome of Foes, because deep gnomes are technically a subclass, so the gnome information, player's handbook, and Tome of Foes subclass information, that kind of thing you'll see a lot throughout here, so whenever I say two different books, just assume that that's what's going on. Deep gnomes have +2 to intelligence and +1 to dexterity. Now for Duergar, over here, in the player's handbook and in Tome of Foes, it's +2 to constitution and +1 to strength. For the Eladrin, they have, according to the player's handbook and Tome of Foes, they have +2 to dexterity and +1 to charisma. Now for the fairies, the thing is that the source book for fairies also used the same optional rule of +1, +1, +1, or +2, +1. So I had to use some homebrew, and I do that on the other race that was in that book. So, but from what I can remember, only 2 homebrews in this. For the fairy, I came up with +1 charisma, +1 wisdom, and +1 dexterity. From what I read, fairies seem kind of charismatic, and seem fast, like small, agile, to dexterity. And wisdom, I don't really remember what I was thinking, but I feel like I read something about them being a bit wise. So there's my reasoning for that. And then here for the Furbolg, according to Volo's guide, +2 to wisdom and +1 to strength. This one was, I hated doing this one. For the Genasi, they have +2 to constitution. This is according to the EEPC. They have +2 to constitution. The air kind have +1 to dex. The earth kind have +1 to strength. The fire ones have +1 to intelligence. and the water ones have +1 to wisdom. The Githyanki, according to Tome of Foes, they have +1 to intelligence and +2 to strength. And for their distant cousins, the Githzerai, they have, according to Tome of Foes, they have +1 intelligence and +2 wisdom. For goblins, right there, really cool art. According to Eberron, goblins have +2 to dexterity and +1 to constitution. For the Goliath, according to Volos, +2 to strength and +1 to constitution. Now for the Harengon, according to my homebrew, because again, no other source with them, according to my homebrew, +2 to dexterity and +1 to choose any. I didn't want to make it choose any, but I really couldn't think of any like best secondary statistic to put +1 in, so there you go, choose any +1. For the Hobgoblin, we have there, according to Eberron, +2 to constitution and +1 to intelligence. Now for the Kenku, they book fell. They have, according to Volos, +2 to dex and +1 to wisdom. The Kobold right there. According to Volo's guide, they have a dexterity +2 and strength -2. Since this book does balance a lot of the races, I'm not too sure about having a -2 stat boost, or I guess it would be a debuff or whatever. But in this book, since there's a lot of that, I feel like they're factoring in the fact that you would be adding 3 overall to stats. And so I don't know how that -2 works. If anyone has any better ideas on how to replace that, then I'm open to it. But yeah, for now it's just staying by what Volo says. Here we have Lizard Folk. Lizard Folk, according to Volo's guide, have +2 to con and +1 to wisdom. Here we have the Minotaur. The Minotaur, according to Theros, they have +2 to strength and +1 to constitution. Here we have Orcs. According to Eberron, strength +2 and constitution +1. Here we have Satyrs, right there. According to Theros, charisma +2 and dexterity +1. Here we have the Sea Elf here. According to Player's Handbook and Tome of Foes, they have dexterity +2 and constitution +1. And here we have the Shadar Kai. And they're just like the Sea Elves according to the Player's Handbook and Tome of Foes. They have dexterity +2 and constitution +1. Here we have the Shifter. There, you can see. Now for this one, my source is a mix of Eberron and Homebrew, because here they made it so that all these subclass, what made it each subclass special, kind of all got mixed in to just being separate abilities, all being able to be used for shifters in general, no sub race. So yeah, I thought the best thing I could do here is just take the average racial boost in stats that was in the Eberron book and put together. So most often it was Dex, and then like there was 1 +2 for Dex, and then I think 2 +1s for Dex. Overall Dex came up more often, so I gave it +2 for Dex, and then after that I think Strength was the second most common boost I saw there, so +1 to Strength. Tabaxi here. According to Volo's guide, dexterity +2 and charisma +1. Turtles. This was an interesting one. according to the total package of Tomb of Annihilation, they have +2 to strength and +1 to wisdom. Triton. The Triton, according to Volo's Guide of Monsters, has +1 to strength, +1 to constitution, and +1 to charisma. And the final one, the Yuan-Ti. They have, according to Volo's Guide, they have +2 to charisma and +1 intelligence. So that is everything. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and God bless.